Good morning. This is Cody for our week 2 journal club. This week's journal club was on the high impact forces in skateboarding landings by landing outcome by Jeremy Detterman. Um, the main research question that they had for this piece of research is were there specific factors that were adding to injuries of skateboarders based on how they landed, um, in which they compared the ground reaction force for a successful landing versus a bailout. They took 12 um, semi professional skaters and they had them do a rail slide down a set of stairs, had a force plate at the bottom to be able to read the information. So the main findings that they had was that the ground reaction force was minimized throughout the skateboard when they landed on the skateboard as compared to when they had to do the bailout, um, with a mean vertical impact during a bailout being 82,000 or 8,200 newtons compared to about 5,300 newtons um, when compared to a successful landing on their skateboard. Um, so it's a very, very dramatic difference um, for when they actually land. The some of the biomechanic concepts that I was able to identify through reading this were were force through ground reaction force, acceleration that they explained via the skateboarders initiating their movement, perpendicular force used during the landing trials, and they also used high speed video for kinetic data to be able to identify how the skateboarders were moving. Um, so some of the things that surprised or interested me the most was just how much force was actually put on the body. Um, Thinking about how small the ankle is relative to the other joints in the body, how much force that was taking on those landings or those bailouts, um, and in comparison to the force that the body takes during a heavy squat or even a depth jump, um, if you're doing some type of plyometric activity. It was also pretty interesting that they mentioned towards the end some data that they found about paratroopers, soldiers parachuting and landing, and how much force that they absorb. Because it's quite a bit. There's been lots of injuries, people that I know when they land. But one question that I do have about the article would just be, um, what would be the changes, if any, if they were to use non top amateur or professional skateboarders, um, in the aspect of if there is a kid or somebody new to the sport, um, and they don't know how to properly bail out just yet. Are they going to potentially absorb more force because they're not doing it properly, in which increasing their risk of injury? Um, and then since they put everybody in the same shoes, but they allowed the skateboarders to have their own skateboards, what would be the differences if they were running a trial with different shoes, um, or if they gave everybody the same skateboard? They mentioned that they allowed skateboarders to have their own skateboards because that's what they're comfortable with. But if they gave them all the same skateboard a week in advance to get used to it, what could be the potential differences? So that way the manufacturers could potentially improve their skateboards. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting article. Thanks.